Welcome back to another episode here on the Hart and Hustle with James and Ron. If you guys want to talk about the organization that you guys are both a part of and maybe your titles as well.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll go first. My name is James, Director of Business Administration. Myself and Ron run two companies, the Provider Support Group and then also Inspire Greatness Within. I'll touch on the Provider Support Group and let Ron touch on Inspire Greatness Within. But the Provider Support Group was started in 2015. Um, we saw companies that were struggling, trying to support adults with developmental and intellectual developmental disabilities. Um, and at that point, I started creating templates and different things to kind of help the providers on the administrative side. I was working at a company where I was actually providing oversight. It was called an ISC, an Individual Service Coordinator. And those positions are in the state to provide some oversight to the agencies and the providers that's supporting the adults with developmental disabilities. And I saw that people had the heart and the passion to do this work, but the administrative side was not executed properly. And that's what part of what the state is coming to survey, and the federal government has different things in place to make sure that that admin stuff is also on point, just as important as the service that you provide to the individuals. Um, so they had the service and they had the heart for it, but they didn't have the admin side. So long story short, started working out some templates and different things to make their even assessment tools look more professional. And from there, started contracting ourselves out as QIDPs and doing policy work, working with startups. So from 2015 to this year, which is actually our 10-year anniversary, we celebrated that this year, that we've been working with the first company for 10 years. And from us coming from one employee to having 5 to 6 different team members that are degree professionals, contracting out RN nurses and stuff like that. But overall, we are supporting and helping companies that want to provide services to adults with developmental and intellectual disabilities. We start and run those companies and do everything that they need to be in full operation and compliance with whatever state they're in.
That's cool, man. I appreciate you telling me that. Ron, he ain't tell us that we had to get fresh and lined up. Like, you know what I'm saying? The boy got lined up, put the chains on. Like, what happened, Ron? Where's the
Hey,
message?
hey, James is gonna always stay fresh. That's just his mentality. I've known this man since grammar school and in high school. We was always trying to stay fresh. Coming from Chicago in the inner city, that's just been him since day one, man. And I
Love
just
it,
be in the
man. I'm be looking at
background,
his
just
lineup.
just being me. You know what I'm saying? So, uh,
Man, I should got the haircut. Look fresh. But no, Ron, I appreciate you, man, telling us a little bit about James in the background. But also, man, if you tell us about the second part of your business.
So yeah, so from the first the provider support group, again, we were hustling with that, and we were just blessed to be in a position to now not only continue to assist providers, but become a provider ourselves now, and actually put our foot into the CILA, which is Community Integrated Living Arrangement atmosphere for adults with intellectual developmental disabilities. So in 2019, we um, we stepped out there. We took a leap of faith. Um, didn't have we had a couple pennies, but we put it together, and we were able to get established with Inspire Greatness Within. And our mission with that was to again become a provider of service and to serve well. So that's our mantra. We're always trying to serve well and make sure that the individuals that we're providing these services live their greatest and most fulfilled life. And so since that time, we've been striving toward that effort. Like James said, we started with just one home, and within the course of the last 6 years, we've now got to 6 homes, and we're providing services for people that really need a provider that's going to actually make sure that the care is there, not just the foundation of services, but actually the soul of the service. And I think that's reflective of how our individuals just have fun and enjoy life.
And we all talking about the business sense of this all, man. In reality, for James, it started so many years ago, right? I think you were talking about you were looking for a part-time job, not realizing this part-time job would lead to what it is today. But that young man with autism changed the entire course of your life, bro, and you still have relationship 20 years later. What does that mean to you, man? It was just a moment, a seed planted, and now here you are with your partner, actually building something that will last a lifetime.
Yeah, it's a matter of just having your, trust and faith in God that, he said he wrote the end before the beginning, and understanding that, because sometimes we think that certain things happen to us and not for us. Um, and with that concept, when I was in school, my mother had a degree in computer engineering, so I followed the same trajectory. And then when the school dropped the program, it was almost like, man, what am I supposed to be doing now? So then once I started getting into social services, and then looking for a part-time position and found that position, again, it was nothing that happened to me. It happened for me. So, I forever still, like I said, I'm still connected with the family and everything and stuff like that. But at that moment in that time, I was thinking like, man, I really wanted to do computer science. I wanted to do computer
Yeah.
engineering. And didn't think anything about social services. So to know that from that moment that that's where we are now, and it's still so much more that we are going to accomplish, and pass on generationally, just out of that shift in my life that I thought again was something that was happening to me and not for me in that moment.
And Ron, you've always been an entrepreneur, bro?
No, I started out working with at-risk youth at Lawrence Hall Youth Services. I really appreciate that time. It got me to learn how to serve and connect. And from there, I transitioned to adults with mental illnesses. So I was in nursing homes, served there as assistant director of social services, and provided skills and services to those adults. And then from there, again, me and James, like I said, in college, we kind of found our way into social services. He had his road, and then I had my road of service. And from there, we was like, we're going to always do a business or something, man. It's going to be awesome, And so, it's just surreal to see how, once we, graduated, and then we went into our own professional lanes and came back, and he was like, man, Ron, it's time, it's time to leave your job, and I was at the time, like I said, assistant director of social services, possibly in promotion to be the director of social services. And I was like, man, bro, I'm gonna follow you. I'm gonna take that leap of faith, man. Let's do this. And I jumped out there with him, and we haven't looked back since.
Love it, man. Pitching pennies, turning them into dollars is what you guys have done.
Right.
James, man, when you're making that call to Ron, what is going through your mind? Like, are you just, you have the plan, or you just like, we're going to figure this out?
No, I saw it. It was happening. So that first year, I had pretty much stepped. I took the step first. That's why I was able to tell him, "Come on, let's go ahead and take it." But that first year, I was able to get the business off the ground and gained enough momentum where I needed the help. So, I mean, I only had a year history of it being sustained. So to tell somebody to walk away from their job and to walk out on that faith as well, it was a big leap. But I was so convinced that it was working for me that he ain't had nothing to worry about. We're gonna get this done.
Ron, where did the belief come in, man? Like, someone called you, like James, only a year in, and saying, quit your job. As you mentioned, there was a promotion coming up, man. What was your mindset going through all of this?
I said, James, you sure? You got to be for real now. It got to be legit. But again, like I said, we went from selling clothes and CDs and things in high school. We've always hustled. Again, I know him my whole life, so I know that he's always been a hustler and always wanted to move forward and things. And so once he put his mind onto something, man, it just takes off. So I just had the confidence to just jump out there, and it was a great choice at the end of the day.
Have you guys seen this before within your families? A lot of times I feel like at our generation, we are the first to do a lot of these things. Are you guys the first to go out and start to build businesses?
From my end, for the most part, yeah. My father actually was a tuck pointer. He worked contractually with like the larger companies, but he did his thing on the side as well. But he had us. We used to go help him as his laborers when he was out there doing his tuck pointing and everything, and then walking through neighborhoods, passing out business cards. And I just actually a few months ago reflected with my mother about that. Like, a lot of things when you talk about coming from broken households and stuff like that. I had a lot of frustration and animosity towards the relationship that I had with my father. But in have gained a perspective, it was like some things you got to look at it where there was some positive. And one of those
Yeah.
was, I'm like, those little details of us walking the neighborhoods, passing out his business cards, going out there working with him, could have built some type of, interest, and then also just like foundation. Because for me, it was like I know that came from that side. Like because he may not have grown to where we are now, whatever the case may be, but that drive, that fight to go try to get it on your own as well. I know it came from him, so
Yeah.
I respect him for that.
That's good you say that, man. I think as adults, when we start to age a little bit, we start to realize that a little bit more. Like the animosity, the way that we felt towards our parents, when we realize what they really did and the sacrifices they had to do, right?
Yeah,
Like like, man, I appreciate that.
yeah,
It is those seeds that they planted, right? We are these. I would say my mother, she was very, as I was growing up, I always felt like she would just. You never knew when she was on the good side or the bad side. But this is a woman that was raising 7 kids on her own. And I think to myself, I only got 2. Like, there's no way that I'm raising 7 kids
yeah,
by myself. Like, that's kind of crazy.
yeah,
So I kind of get where her mindset was at, right? She was just trying to provide as best she could with what she had. And that's one of the things she mentioned to me as I became 30 and I finally had that conversation. She says, hey, I'm sorry that I tried to do the best I could with what I had. And I had to respect that, right? And now James and Ron, you guys are in spaces where you guys can really educate people, because I think that's another thing is that when we talk about autistic kids, right, in this space, that we also don't have a lot of representation of people that can actually tell us what's kind of going on to the space. And here goes 2 men that can really talk about what's going on in this space. How also is that making you guys feel, Ron?
I mean, so perspective is everything, and I thank God for being able to be put into this social workspace, because not only in my work life but just personally, it allows me to, just like you said, see things from a different point of view, kind of take a step back and try to understand the why. Why do I grow up this way? What, like you said, my mom, she had 5 kids, and she was single, and even though my dad was definitely there and he was a provider for me, she still had to hustle. And when we think about what we didn't have, or things that we did growing up, but what did she have to do and deal with growing up with her background and family? So being able to then apply those things on both sides is, as a black man, everybody has a why, everybody has a reason, everybody has purpose. And so these adults that we work with autism and intellectual disabilities, they all have purpose, and they all have whys, and they all have, desires and abilities, and just like we do. And our job is to try to just assist them into flourishing in their life and whatever their purpose is. And so that's the more rewarding part of it. And just to see me and James and our foundation and crew being young do that is, means the most, because most of the time you see people that are a little bit older in this field and have more of that desire of service. But we've had that instilled in us from our upbringing to serve, and it's been like that from since we were young.
I love that, man. No, it definitely matters, man, when we kind of go back, and just representation matters, especially in the spaces we kind of mentioned. And I also think that as we continue to grow, it's really having to change that mindset, right? There's a mindset shift when you start to grow from and becoming that helper to that CEO. Like, what were those biggest mindset shifts, James? I can only imagine when you sat here and you first took that leap of faith. There had to be a lot of really tweaking in the mind, because there was probably a lot of noise and people thinking you're crazy. What did that look like for you, bro?
Man. Being honest, it's a ongoing process still for me,
Yeah.
because I'm so used to not being in these type of positions that I'm still trying to understand the position that I'm in and that we're in. So we got nominated for the best and brightest. When our company just got nominated for the best and brightest to work for. So I went to the event that they had for the companies, and it was just a room full of CEOs. And I'm in the room like, man, I'm a CEO too. So it's ever evolving, and I think that's more of my challenge is learning how to live with the positions that we have versus who I've always been.
Do
Yeah.
you feel it's a little different? Do you feel like there was your expectation and what God presented? Is that why?
Yeah, for sure. Because I like the back, stay in the back. I don't like the forefront. Um,
Got it.
I'm gonna be prepared with presentation for the forefront, but I don't like the forefront. Give me the back. But I definitely feel that way. That like you're saying, that he already had his plan, and I come from struggle. I know struggle,
Yeah.
so I relate to struggle. So again, it's a process for me to walk out the door to my house like, no, I'm a CEO. I don't even think like that.
And I think
Do
that
you feel? Go ahead, Ron.
And I think that that's due to, this background in social services. We're frontline people. We're serving. We're reaching out to people, creating connections, creating plans of cares, and so it was a big mind shift of now. Okay, we can't focus on the direct care side. We now have to focus on the structure and the policy and procedural side and the structural side that drives the front side of service and care. So it was a big shift of now, wanting to just always be around individuals and talking with them, having fun and creating skills and things like that, to now, how do I empower other people to do those same things? So that was the biggest shift that I had to work on.
We're in a unique space right now. There's a lot of AI going on. You can have a business that runs with 10 people feel like it's running with 20. Are you guys in that space as well, already early adapters? Because I feel that's another thing that's happening is that people are really early adapters into this AI world when we talk about systems and back of the house resources and all that. Are you guys in that space?
Yeah, for streamlining some of these processes for sure. And I don't think we've even tapped into it as much as we can, but we definitely will, because it's the way that you can draft the policy. When we first started out, we was writing these policies by hand, looking at this code, writing it by hand, and you taking all day writing 4 or 5 pages for one policy. You type in that request in AI, and there it go, right there. And I mean, they hitting
I
all
love it.
corners. So it's definitely beneficial for you to be able to kind of expedite and use your time better. But at the end of the day, our industry is still hands on. It's still dealing with
Yeah.
people, human beings. So it's always going to be something that AI can't do. And that's, saying interact with the people in regards to touching them and actually having a relationship and stuff like that. I know they
Yeah,
got
I
crazy
agree.
movies out with AI having real people bodies and stuff, but I just don't think it ever be that relational piece.
Now, when it comes to emotion, man, like you just can't take that away, right? Like that human to human talking, even this conversation, while it's great, like this virtual, what does it really feel like in person? That always in person connection and energy is so contagious from someone. Um, Ron, I was talking to James the first time, and he mentioned that you guys are a for-profit with a nonprofit heart. How do you actually walk that line in real life?
I would say we walk that line by just maintaining our core values. Again, our desire to make sure that what we are providing service is exceptional, that the person has a life of quality, so that for profit versus nonprofit really doesn't interfere with the service that we provide. It just really, what it does is allow us to not have so much red tape. I mean, when you're nonprofit, and it's a blessing to be a nonprofit, but you gotta maintain records of everything, and this little mic has to have to have a sticker and a label, and this pen has to be identified and stuff like that, and that's great. But we were able to still provide this service in social service without having that nonprofit designation.
I love that. Do you feel, James, that it's helped you guys get into more rooms or maybe stay out of certain rooms just for that for-profit, nonprofit title?
Um, I don't think it's. I don't think it has. It's more restrictive actually in our industry when you're talking about grants, donations, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And people, a lot of these companies have full campaigns on fundraising, and with us being for profit, we're not able to do that. So that's one of the considerations that we have made, and we are creating a foundation. We already got it set up, It's called the Serve Well
Love it.
Foundation, because we got to have that arm where we can get different contributions, different ways to be able to sustain,
Mhm.
because it's still a government business. So there's always opportunities where the government shutdowns may impact us as well. So you got to create other arms where you can support that. So we, that foundation, the non-for-profit, will actually open more doors and opportunities for resources for the for-profit.
Smart men to start the nonprofit. Like I started to realize as I got into the space, that's why you see a lot of these like celebrities, usually with a nonprofit, because they understand the ways and how money kind of go through. We learning. No one taught us these things.
Yep.
We having to learn the game in a sense, which is cool. I'm definitely down to learn. I think we the more educated we become, the more we are able to help others. And I think that you know what I actually just heard today, man. I thought it was pretty good. She Entrepreneurship is a test, and she says without a test, there's no testimony. So we got to
Mm.
go through the test. And I'm like, ooh, come on now, mic drop.
Okay.
And it's right. Like this is what we're going through right now. It is a test. It's a testimony that we also get to tell, man, that you guys continue to scale. And you guys been talking about scaling, man. What's one thing founders, you guys being in the space now for some time, what is one thing founders in social work need to really unlearn if they want to scale impact? 'Cause I think a lot of times people are so stuck in their ways.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what Ron just actually mentioned, that you can have your core values and your integrity behind what you do, why you do, and still make money from it. Simple as that.
What are the values? What are the values you guys live by?
Mine, at the end of the day, of course, starting off with that integrity,
Hmm.
they, you know, have the slogan of treating people how you want to be treated, but in our industry, it's treating people how they want to be treated, um, and keeping that standard, maintaining the standard, as long as that it's a quality of life. That's a standard.
Yeah.
We both have connections with people with disabilities. I have a cousin. Ron had a brother that he lost, that also had a disability. So that integrity behind the service, like we're not doing this because you want the money or whatever the case may be. I feel like we are called to this certain group of people, and the standards have to be quality. It has to be integrity. I want people to walk away knowing that their loved ones are protected and safe and in good hands when they leave them in our care. And if you don't have that mentality and you are part of our team, then you have to be gone. So those core values are there, that we are taking care of and protecting first off God's children and then other people loved ones.
Love it. You want to add on any values, Ron?
So things that I live by: quality. Anything that you're gonna do, have quality to it. We're in this space of serving, like James said, souls, not just any other industry. These are people. These are somebody's mama's child, And so, what quality are you going to bring to this environment, and what does quality look like? And so, for somebody getting into entrepreneurship, have quality in what you do, have perseverance in what you do. There's going to be times, like I said, I took that leap of faith. And although James said he had it going for a year, when I came, trust and believe, I wasn't making the money I was making as an assistant director of social services. I was not. I had to struggle a little bit, but we persevered. We knew that if we kept on working and kept on putting foot to the pavement, that we would get to where we wanted to be eventually. And so we persevered through ups and downs. And even now, there's always things, trials that's going to try to stop you. But how do you persevere through those things? How do you push forward through those things? That's what I would tell people to do.
Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying the podcast, we first want to say thank you. And we also just want to give you a little insight of what we're up to at Francis. Some don't even realize that we're working with organizations to help them use AI to create that real human communication experiences, whether that's actually supporting your families, those patients, or the entire community. We're actually creating tech that connects. Check it out, francis.ai. James, kudos to you, bro, to reaching out to somebody. Because so many people want to do it alone, right?
You feel
You
me?
reached out, and yeah, he said, "Let me call Ron because I understand the value." And it's hard when you work with friends. I mean, it's hard when you work with family. What made Ron the special guy, man? That you said, you know what, I can count on this guy. I know you guys talking about you grew up together and all this other stuff, but I've been on the other side that I worked with friends or family. It didn't work out. Can we get your thoughts on that, James?
Yeah, it was just, I guess, the deal of the cards because we've had both experiences as well. Where some of them didn't work out, some of them did. But initially, we say you grow up together and stuff like that. Now, Ron and I did life together. We were college roommates. When we left our first university out of Joliet out here in Illinois, we went to Western again, roommates out there. We both transferred together. We even had a season where we wasn't even interacting just because we just was on different courses, but we always knew what it was. And we saw the professional interactions as well. So we players together, we're in the same fraternity, we're on the same line, and we've seen how we had to interact as maybe the president of the chapter, the vice president of the chapter, like that context, the professional context was there as well, and then the education was there. So I knew he was in the field, I knew he was in the industry, so and I knew our relationship, our foundation. Again, we did life together. We were doing life together.
I love it. I
So
love it. You guys brothers at the end of the day.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, brothers from different mothers is what you guys are.
Man, I'm trying to tell you, but like you said, it does not always work that way, unfortunately. But just like you said, James' background and my background and the humble beginnings, I guess, allowed us to not be egotistical. And so that allowed us to always just be supportive of one another, what I'm saying, through life and anything that's going on. So it's never been a big I, even though James James brought me in. He's never had a big I mentality. It's just been us, just building and trying to provide for our families and other families. And so if anybody wants to try to, work, it takes two sometimes to make a thing go right. So if you have somebody and you guys align and have those kindred spirits, that makes things flourish. And when you enter somebody who does not have that same kindred spirit, they kind of wean themselves off because they're not on the same wavelength and that you're going on. So don't let things that happen to you stop you from giving people opportunities, because you never know who makes that connection, and then things will just take off and have more prosperity.
And in all of it, just never burn bridges because you never know when you're going to cross that bridge again.
Never know, man.
Right? Like, come on, man. You guys been doing life together. At one point, somebody could done somebody dirty, and all this doesn't even exist, right? But
yeah,
it was being authentically yourself. And I think you mentioned, James, when I spoke to you, is being authentically you beats credentials all the time.
Every
for
time.
sure. Yep.
So I love that. I think Chicago could also be the kind of one of those factors of what allows you guys to really show up, even the way that you guys show up, right? Do you guys feel like there's a lot of lessons growing up in Chicago that taught you about leadership as well?
Man, yeah, definitely. I mean, number one, survival. And I think as well that loyalty, when you come from struggle, it's almost like a different class. It's a protected class in your perception, because like literally, like when we used to get food stamps and stuff, we were excited. Like we thought we were rich when you got all them coupon books in the mail and stuff like that. So, and I say that because like that's a shared experience when you talk about struggle. So I'm from Chicago, inner city. He's from Chicago, same neighborhood, inner city. So it's just like he understands. We understand each other. So that support is definitely there.
I mean, there's a great philosopher by the name of Kanye West that
I
said,
love me some Kanye. Love
I'm
me
a
some Kanye.
I'm a Chicagoan until Chicago ends, and we want Chicago to win. And so, that spirit is embodied in every Chicagoan. We come from a blue collar town. We come from the hustle, from getting what get it out the mud, as they would say, and just strapping the boots on and going to work. That's what we saw. My father was a plumber with the city of Chicago. He would get up every day, 4:30 in the morning, wake me up. I don't even got to be at school till 8. Why you waking me up? But he was instilling that value, man. Get up. You got to get your day going, and get your hustle on. And so he would do that. And then, on the weekends, he would be doing other work outside. So it was like, man, I didn't even get a chance to sleep in on Saturdays and Sundays, and we're going to church on Sundays. So it just instilled that hustle, that keep going, spirit, and that's Chicago, man. We're gonna keep going.
And I
Man,
think
that
it's a
work
certain
ethic,
pride.
man, you don't see it. You don't see it often.
I was just gonna say, I think it's a certain pride too to say that you successful. Like I'm prideful in that to be able to say I'm successful from Chicago.
You said Kanye, man. Like one of my top five is Kanye, man. And I know we could have a whole conversation what's going on with
Right.
Kanye right now, but I'm excited about this movie about to drop. Have you guys seen it?
No, not yet, not
The
yet.
little
I'm excited
documentary. Well,
about it.
not physically seen it, but yeah, the actual documentary coming out.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, man, I love it. I love that you guys are in this space, and I think that when it comes to Black entrepreneurs, you guys have a lot of information to really pass along. And for those young Black entrepreneurs who feel maybe called, but maybe they're just under resourced, what's your realest advice, man, for them to get going?
Off the bat, start with what you have. Start with what you have. Like the they always talk about how like if the vision doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. And sometimes that's the point that people get in that space where they have this dream, and the dream just seems too big, especially for an inner city kid from Chicago. It just
Yeah,
seems like it's unreachable. But in your environment, in your space, there is something that you have in your possession right now to get you started. This business was started off of a laptop that I had and some free software that I found on the internet. That's how the business started. So
I
it's
love it.
something in your possession now that you can use to get going. And God will
Yeah,
orchestrate everything else. It's when you walk with divinity, divinity walks with you. So
yeah. I love that, man. It is so true. You just got to ask. You got to go do your work because it's not just going to fall in your lap,
no,
right? If you just sitting there and think it's going to fall out the sky, you're dead wrong, man. You really got to put in the work. And sometimes doing the work that you're doing, that's when the doors really start to open into lanes that you never even knew existed,
exactly.
yeah,
all right?
real.
Ron, you wanted to add on to that?
Just live a life of no excuses. There's a thousand reasons to say no or why I can't, but you take that chance on yourself and that one yes, and it can change your life. Don't live with the excuses of what I don't have, what I can't start a company. I'm, robbing Peter to pay Paul. So what? You can still work. You can still develop while you're working. You can still find resources. It's the mindset of excuses that kind of create barriers to success. Don't live with excuses.
What, what can we tell them about L's? And I'm not talking about the losses. While they may feel like losses in the moment, they're really lessons. What can we talk about that? I think so many people, they quit too early or they fail and they quit. What can we talk about those? I'm pretty sure you guys both experienced what failure looked like and how you got back up and kept it moving.
I mean, entrepreneurship is people think it's just a story of just success. It's really a story of L's. I mean, like you said, the L's are lessons. So many lessons that we've went through, and so many paths where we went left when we should have went right. Okay, so now we started to explore the map, and so as you explore the map of entrepreneurship, you eventually get a true picture of the playing field, and now you can navigate that playing field with more, precision. So when you have those L's, that's just you mapping out the landscape, and that's how you should see that.
I love that. James, what you got to add to it?
Yeah, I think just in addition to that is again going back to the concept is not what's happening to me, but it's what's happening for me. That those like you said, those lessons, a lot of times it was stuff that may have happened. Say, for instance, we didn't have the money to do something. Boom, now I got a relationship with my brother. My brother connected me with somebody that got enough money to lend us, and it builds relationships and relationships that you can go back to. So, sometimes when they, say that the closed door, it's not, you can't get in your head to the extent where, man, this was the opportunity I wanted. This I failed. No, it's other doors. Allow that
Yep.
closed door just to be directional for you. So it's a process. It's ups and downs through this. I will never sit here and make it seem like it's easy. It's been times I wanted to quit. I told Ron before that I wanted to just go back to working 9 to 5 because the stuff is a grind. It take a lot. Like we may laugh and joke about it, but it's a lot. It's a lot of work in being an entrepreneur. But your perspective. If you look at those like you said, those L's as not losses but lessons, learn from it. It's not a failure if you can learn from it.
Yeah, 100%. It's funny that you say that. You don't know how many times I say the same thing. Like, you know what? I wish I could just go 9 to 5, come home, play video games, like be that guy to sit on the
Hmm.
couch. It's just not in me though. You know what
No.
I mean? And tomorrow you got to wake up, and even though today wasn't a good day, you're gonna figure out tomorrow.
Yep.
You're
You
gonna
know, and
figure it
keep
out.
doing it until the light on the end of the tunnel per se.
And no knock to the 9 to 5 because it's vital, it's needed, and everybody can be a leader, and that doesn't mean you're not an important or a vital role to the success of a company. Everybody that works for us, we need them on that front line because without them, this agency does not move forward. But yeah, we definitely had those conversations about, man, we can just go back. I can go back, be a director anywhere at any time, get a 6-figure job, and I'm cool. And like you said, we used to be playing Call of Duty and stuff. Those days are over, but too much is given, much is required, and so we're not. It's not just about me and James and our family. Now it's more than 50 other people's families that we are trying to assist and make sure that they're okay. And so that's the pride that I take in. And so when things get rough, it's like, man, what are we doing this for? So
Yeah. I always figured, I mean, I had to realize this, but life is not even about us, man. It's about the next generation, about our people that we pour into, right? God has given us all these blessings really to pour into others. Some things that we didn't know, we can continue to pass on. But we did learn, as we talked about, through some losses, so we can now kind of pass that on. Life is like that, man. Life is like a roller coaster. And I heard someone says, man, life's been like a roller coaster. I'm like, that means you living. Because if there's no ups and downs in your life, you're not really living. All right. So
that's
I
real.
appreciate that you guys have continued to never give up on yourselves, but give up on others either, right? Because once you give up on yourself, you've given up on 50 plus other people that believed in you, that seen the vision and continue to show up because of what you kind of mentioned to them as that leader. So it is a very tough space, man. And I appreciate both you guys for just doing and being who you guys are. As you guys mentioned, it's not who you were at those moments, but who you were going to become. And look what you guys have been able to become, right? By just staying consistent, by just loving what you do and never chasing a paycheck, really chasing purpose. I mean, James, since 20 years ago, man, you just had this seed planted in you. You knew there was something there. While you probably didn't see this part of the vision, but you knew there was something there, that moment that made you feel like, damn, I love this. How do I continue to tell that story? And it took you 20 years, man, and you just getting started, man. You
Yep.
just getting started. Ron, I wish I could tell more on you, bro. You just went there on the first conversation. So,
Hey,
but
that's
it
a
was
bar
cool.
though.
And James spoke you up, though. He spoke you up. No worries.
Don't chase a paycheck, chase purpose. That's a bar right there.
I'm saying, man, that's literally was my life, Ben. And speaking to nonprofit leaders, it's so true. You know, I've had over 200 conversations this year, and I've seen CEO. I actually just recently spoken to. He was the CEO of Michaels, and the president of Kirkland's at one point,
Okay.
and now he is Joy. I think is Joy Bridge for Kids or something like that. It's an autism organization, and he got called upon that because he had a child that was autistic, and he just was always kind of appreciated that work. And then one time someone called him and says, "Hey, I'm starting a business, and we know that you know how to run a business." And it was one office that he now turned into 15, and he's trying to go to 30. But he's like, "I love this." So taking that pay cut, I've seen judges that walked away from the podium because they realized, why are we not helping the kids before they get to the courtrooms? And he realized, I needed to go backwards, right? Like when you see that, man, people are really making money and say, we shouldn't be just chasing money. But sometimes when you grew up, how we grew up, that's all you see, right? You got to be the basketball player. You got to be the football player. Go chase the money. And in reality, when you really chase something that you love and never feels like work, I can imagine James and Ron, while they're stressful, man, those days that you see someone blessed, those kids that are living their lives the way that you guys, envisioned, like that makes it all worth it. No?
Man, let me tell
Yeah.
you, you go into that home and you see those faces light up just to see you, and because of the relationships you establish with them, and you just see the impact, man. Man, all the worries and the stress of the day, all that stuff goes away. You don't even think about that stuff. You just think about, man, it's just a blessing. They're enjoying life. We're assisting them, developing skills, becoming more independent, helping people who couldn't navigate the community. Now they're getting out in the community on their own and catching buses and going to the malls. And it's like, man, they got girlfriends and living their life. And it's like, man, I love that, man. They thrive and they live in. So that man, that's what it's it for me.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. James, you gonna add on to it?
No, you hit it right on the head. And I think the only thing I'll add is that even our families, the lives that they get to live because of our purpose, the lives that they get to live because of us chasing our, and pursuing our why. So you see the families that you impact on site at the workspace, but then when you come home and your family is thriving, they're in healthy environments, they're not experiencing struggle, it doubles down on the motivation.
100%. I do agree, because when you feel it, they feel it too. I'll leave y'all with the last question, man, before we wrap it up. What's one truth about your industry that most people aren't ready to hear? Make y'all think on this one.
Yeah, I would say that I do think it's still underfunded. That social services that our government, states can still do more for these populations. No matter what they think they've passed, no matter how we've progressed, we can still do more. We can do better.
All right. And Ron, I ask you, man, where people can tap into you, whether it's to help them continue their own venture or to just partner up with what you guys are already doing. Where can they be follow, maybe on social media? What is the website?
Man, so if anybody want to tap in, you can reach us at www.theprovidersupportgroup.org. You can also reach us at www.igwinc.org. That's for the Scylla home. So again, if anybody who has a desire to work with adults with intellectual developmental disabilities and want to start your own Scylla homes, your own group homes in any state in the nation, we are able to come in and review that state policy and get you set up to get your license and get you operational in that home. So again, go visit www.theprovidersupportgroup.org, tpsg.org. We'll help you out.
I love it. Well, appreciate both of you guys, your times, man, what you guys are doing in the
Appreciate you.
Chicago area. And can't wait to see this continue to scale, man.
Appreciate you.
Two men that have become brothers over lifetime, and look at the work that they're doing, and they just getting started. Ron, James, it's been a pleasure. I'm Efrain. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Efrain.